Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and today I'm going to probably very unsuccessfully struggle to try to attempt to define the difference between science fiction and fantasy. This has been a video that I've been wanting to do for a while because when I go to streaming services and I look under fantasy, and I see fucking aliens in there, I want to punch the asshole, dipshit, motherfucking idiot that put aliens under fucking fantasy. I want to be like, do you even know what the word fantasy means, you fucking moron? You brain dead oatmeal head idiot. Fucking dipshit. It pisses me off. It really makes me angry because when I'm looking for a fantasy movie, I don't want to see non-fantasy movies in the fucking feed. That's not what I'm looking for. When I'm looking for science fiction, I'll go to the science fiction section. But the problem is, these fucking dumbass dipshit streaming services don't have a dedicated fantasy service. They just lump all sci-fi and fantasy together like it's one goddamn thing. And it's like, no, you dipshit fucking dumbasses. It's not the same goddamn thing. When I'm in the mood for swords and sorcery, when I'm in the mood for, sandals and dragons and fucking dwarves and elves and witches, I don't want fucking robots or cyborgs or fucking spaceships, goddammit. Jesus fucking Christ. It's not that goddamn hard. It ain't that fucking hard. Sci-fi, robots, spaceship, technology, science, fantasy, fairy tale, magic, the supernatural. It's not that fucking hard. Except when it is. So, when is it hard? Well, the Avengers. Thor. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the Avengers are science fiction, right? Robots and mutants and monsters and aliens. But they're also fantasy, aren't they? Magic. Thor uses magic. Thanos uses magic, etc. Well, no. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. Because they firmly establish within the Marvel Cinematic Universe lore that in that universe, magic is just technology. It's science that advanced alien civilizations have already understood and humans are too primitive to figure out. That's all it is. It's science. Now, you could be a dipshit motherfucker, put your pinky up and be like, well, I'm actually, and then give me that stupid quote about magic and science and indistinguishable technology and advanced civilization. Bullshit, eat shit. Go to the bathroom, dig a turd out of your ass, shove it in your mouth, and shut the fuck up. Don't ever quote that at me, you fucking motherfucker. I'm not stupid. God damn it. But Dungeons & Dragons isn't sci-fi. And if I'm browsing movies, and I'm in the... Well, Blockbuster don't exist anymore, but if I were in a video store back in the day, and I'm in the fantasy section, I'm looking for Lord of the Rings, or Willow, or the Barbarians, or the Beastmaster. I'm not looking for Star Wars, or Star Trek, or fucking The Matrix. I'll go to the sci-fi section to look for those. Likewise, if I'm looking for science fiction, I don't want to see the Lord of the Rings under science fiction. Because it ain't. God damn it. The Lord of the Rings has as much right to be in science fiction as it does historical fiction. As in not a goddamn reason to be there. And if you're a dumbass and you put either of those movies in that, or that movie in either of those sections where it don't fucking belong, I'm just going to call you an idiot to your face. Now, if you don't want to distinguish, like Netflix is too fucking lazy to do, and you just lump them all together because that's how you lump them in your brain, fine, I'm not going to give you shit. do what, you categorize your movies how you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I get so pissed off when I go to Amazon and I'm looking specifically for something with witches in it, but not necessarily horror. I'm looking for a fantasy movie or something with, dragons or elves or whatever. And I got to look at, 10,000 fucking comic book movies first. And it's like, this isn't what I'm looking for, god damn it. Now, I understand there can be some confusing to simpletons overlap in some respects with some muddier franchises, like Star Wars, for example, because you have morons who are quick to say, it's science fantasy, except they have explained that the Force is science-based with the midichlorians, but, whatever. Even in the books, in the old books, before Disney got their ugly mitts on everything, they had the Empire had machines that could detect Force users. But I don't have an answer for Force ghosts. Because your ghost would be separated from the midichlorians at that point and be a part of the Force, and your consciousness would exist within it. So I guess that counts as a supernatural element, but it's not enough of a supernatural element to classify Star Wars as fantasy. It's science fiction. If you want to call it science fantasy, go ahead. Just don't tweet that at me, because I'm either going to block you, or I'm going to argue with you, or I'm going to fucking ignore you. It's science fiction. When you go to the library, you find Star Wars in the science fiction section. When you go to the bookstore, or not the bookstore, well, same thing. When you go to the, video store, Blockbuster or whatever, back in the day, Star Wars was in the science fiction section. If the store did have a separate section for fantasy, Star Wars was never there, because nobody would be dumb enough to put it there. Because you're going to get people that Star Wars might be the reason why dipshit streaming services are too chicken shit to put give fantasy its own section, because they know if they don't put Star Wars in the right section, people are going to complain. So they're like, let's just lump it all together and call it a day. And then you get weird shit like Being John Malkovich, or fucking, I don't know, fucking Casper, with Christina Ricci, that doesn't belong in sci-fi or horror or fantasy. Sometimes that shit'll pop up in there. Weird shit that it's like, oh, this isn't what people think of when they're looking for a fantasy movie. It's just like when people are looking for sci-fi. Yes, I know technically Short Circuit is sci-fi, but no, it's not really. It's a comedy. The sci-fi elements are just a plot device. It's not a sci-fi movie. It's not what people think of when they think of science fiction, When people hear the word sci-fi, they're thinking The Matrix. They're thinking, fucking, the Marvel movies, or, the Aliens, or the Predator, or RoboCop, or the Terminator, or Star Wars, or Star Trek, or whatever. Maybe Jurassic Park, I guess, maybe. They're not thinking of Short Circuit. It's like when people are talking about they want a fantasy movie. Your go-to fantasy movie is not going to be The Wizard of Oz. I mean, The Wizard of Oz is a fine movie, don't get me wrong, but it's not what you're looking for when you're looking for, like, when you're in the mood for, like, Willow, or, I don't know, one of the Hobbit movies, or 300. Well, I don't know about 300. That one's tricky. But maybe, I don't know, fucking, well, that's the other problem I have, is it is kind of tricky to define fantasy. Because you could go simple and just be like, anything with fantastical elements is fantasy. Alright, sure. Or you could go like, like the assholes in Hollywood that don't know the difference, and then make things like, fucking hocus pocus fantasy, and it's like, yeah, okay, maybe, kinda, sorta, almost, technically, but again, not really. I don't know, it's complicated, and it shouldn't be complicated, and I wanted it to be simple, and it turns out it isn't simple, so, I don't know, what do you think? Yeah, if you think Star Wars is science fantasy, good for you. I just don't comment on. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know that you think that, because I'm gonna judge you, because I'm gonna question your intelligence. I'm sorry, I just am, because it ain't science fantasy. It's science fiction with like maybe some supernatural elements, but it's not fantasy at all. There are no fucking dragons in Star Wars.